I'm your host, Alicia, and you're watching the new show, TSU.
We found our stripes. Let's get it.
And you're going to be happy one day to say, TSU, TSU, we love you.
What's up, TSU? It's David Funches here bringing you the latest and the greatest information on the campus of Texas Southern University. Today is a special day because it's Nigerian Independence Day. 55 years ago, Nigeria gained their independence from the country of Great Britain. And this is a very special day. I also want to bring to you the presidential address by Dr. John Rudley, the president of Texas Southern University. This is his response to the movement called Take Back TSU. And his words were great, very informational, very productive outlooks that he has. And I want you guys to hear what he has to say. Thank you.
This video is designed to have a communication with our community as a result of some of the complaints issued by a movement called Take Back TSU, which I must say that a lot of the students' concerns were legitimate, and I'd like to address some of those with you this morning. I have read the issues and concerns raised by the students, and you know, in all American business, the customers are always right. And this is a perfect example to say to our customers, they are right. I want to apologize to our students for the fact that they had to raise these concerns. We should have a system that responds automatically to some of the maintenance issues and some of the financial aid issues. But needless to say, at the end of the day, as the president of the university, I am responsible, and I'd like to make a public apology on behalf of my administration for the lax in terms of addressing some of the student concerns. In particular, I would say that financial aid is a major concern and a stress point for our students and for the administration. And housing became a huge issue because we had not opened up a new 800-bed dormitory on time. So that created a lot of problems, which resulted in students having to be put into third-party housing. Some 200 or 300 students are living off campus because the housing component is not ready. The second feature of the housing concern was that even existing housing, there are a lot of maintenance issues that we should have taken care of, and we've addressed those with the students in a meeting that we had about 4 hours yesterday in terms of some of the issues, the maintenance issues with housing. Back to financial aid, that's another I got you. I think our students are right. There's got to be much more customer service in the financial aid area, given the fact that 92% of our students depend on financial aid. We have allowed students to, receive financial aid maybe 2 days before classes start. It's our fault. We should not allow that. It's not a student's fault. So 2/3 of our students really apply for financial aid in August when we try to get them to apply in April. But we have a history of having accepted that as a way of doing business. And I think part of the solution will be we will move the deadlines around so it'll make it much more convenient for everybody. We're going to deal with the customer service aspect of our employees over in the financial aid area as well. You know, the truth sometimes is always in the middle. And so from the standpoint of the president, you hear from people who work for you that things are okay. But they are not okay, and it has caused me to stop what I was doing in terms of external relationships and spend more time on internal matters that will address our student concerns. Let me start with an example of why we have problems in financial aid. The federal government, for example, TSU was in a position about 8 years ago where we had to pay almost $13 million back to the Department of Education because we awarded financial aid to students who didn't have all their paperwork in. We finally resolved that issue with the Department of Education. We didn't have to pay the $13 million. We appealed it and we won. And the key was we had files and folders that were not available when the inspectors came, and so they just dinged us with a $13 million tab. So that caused the university to be much more strict in terms of awarding federal financial aid. On top of that, the federal government has changed the rules and regulations, and that makes it even harder, especially when our customers don't understand all the rules and regulations. But what we're going to do is we're going to create at least 5 new positions, and I'm going to create a 24-hour, 7 days a week, a hotline and a financial aid center where we're going to actually take our parking garage and we're going to build it out. And so when a student or a parent calls throughout the year, someone will be there to address their case file. and they will not drop that case file. Everybody will be responsible for at least 100 case files per person, so that they will be treated like an insurance policy. You know, when you have a car accident or something like that, somebody calls you up and they work that file. Financial aid has to be done the same way. We have to communicate with students and parents on a continuous basis. So the new financial aid center will be in the parking garage. We will build it out, and we'll have 5 new staff members, so a student will always get the assistance that they need. The housing solution, I'll return to the housing situation. As I said before, the way we got into the housing situation is that I went to the historically black college capital financing program in Washington, D.C., which sets up $800 million for black colleges to borrow from, $400 million for public black colleges, and $400 million for private black colleges. We worked with that program for 4 years because in 2008, when I first came here, I knew housing was an issue, and we really want Texas Southern University to be more of a residential-based campus as opposed to a commuter campus. In order to do that, you have to have more housing. So to make a long story short, we were able to get that loan to build $6 million worth of housing, which is 800 beds. And so it was not completed by August, as I said before. So that really is a problem, but it's also a solution, because once the housing comes online in, say, January the 14th, then we will see some of the housing pressure dissipate. Students also raised a concern that in the general category of academics really was mostly related to whether or not there was enough equipment available to them in terms of computers, whether or not Wi-Fi and technology enhancements were available to them. And I wanted to say in general that there is a drop-off that needs to be taken care of. For example, we have online courses, and sometimes the blackboard doesn't work. A university ought to be very cognizant of that, and students shouldn't be complaining about that, and that's how you get their attention, or they get your attention. You should be ahead of that game. So I do appreciate the fact that the students brought that to my attention. You know, one of the things that we have to remember when we talk about academics in general, it's a combination of what the faculty are doing, what the students are doing, and what the administration is doing to improve the quality of education that's occurring on campus. And the students did not feel that we were addressing all their needs, and some basic needs. And for example, there was like 5 computers that were out in the library. There was no paper. Well, that is not the case around the rest of the university. They were just pointing out certain areas of the university that had not been addressed. The librarian had indicated to the student that she put in a work order. Well, you know, you can put a work order all you want, but if it's going to take a week, that's going to frustrate people. So we decided to do a fix-it list. The students are going to prepare for me all of the problems that they have observed. The Take Back TSU group is going to get to work and prepare a list called the Fix-It list for TSU. And I will take that list and we'll start to work and improve each one of those recommendations. And some of that is just basic repairs, and we have the resources to take those repairs and make the changes. It's just the people between the president and the students were not exactly responding to the students in a timely manner, and that's going to end. I think one of the issues that was central to this whole conversation with the Take Back TSU centered around what they described as campus life or tradition, and I want to address some of those issues. First and foremost is that the students were of the opinion that when I took away the painted trees and the barbecue grills and when I actually spruced up the plaza, they were also told incorrectly that they couldn't use the plaza. They felt that I didn't really understand what black college life was all about. And I had to explain to them that, you know, over the course of many years, universities don't look like the 1947 university. They don't look like 1960 university. You still can have tradition, but the world is changing. The fact that we're competing with other universities means that your facilities have to be a place where when parents come to our campus, they want to see the quality that the university is represented in terms of the outward appearance of the campus. So when I came here in 2008, and really after Hurricane Ike, which basically destroyed the campus, we had $33 million worth of damage. I made the decision to make sure the plaza was one that would attract quality students. And so we removed the painted trees and the barbecue grills and the like. And what we did was, in exchange for that, we created pavilions on the largest side of the campus. We built 9 pavilions, and we told the students that you could have those pavilions and you can paint them anything you want to with them. And so that's the state of where we are now. Well, the students have said to me that, well, can we get back to painting the trees? And I basically said, no, that's a non-starter. But they also came up with, can we reconcile our position? And I said, sure, I'd be willing to accept any recommendation. So in my travels around the black colleges, I've seen where there are very nice representations of the Greek life. So the students are going to come back with a recommendation on, for example, creating areas where they can have a brick or some kind of momentum of the Greek fraternity or sorority, and it'll be placed in a very respectable area. Not that we're not respecting the Greek life on campus, but it's my responsibility to make sure TSU is attractive enough so if a kid is going to decide between TSU or Lamar or Stephen F. Austin or Sam Houston, which is our peer institution, we have to look like an institution that all people want to come to. And so I did not destroy the Greek presentation on campus. I just provided the students with a different option. And we're working on the reconciliation right now. So in the course of talking about campus life, I reminded the students that in terms of funding for TSU, we have to have the resources necessary to do just about anything here. So let's assume that we solve the problem, that tradition is not the problem, and that we're trying to integrate the institution in terms of making it a place where all students, whether you're Hispanic or Asian or black, would feel comfortable coming to TSU. That is the big mission, and so when we produced a video, the video was designed to just say that. It wasn't designed to say we were going to get away from our traditions at all. So when you see videos from other major white institutions on television, you will note that they usually choose an African American to be in that video, with the understanding that it is a message to the community that it's going to be a diverse university, and so African Americans are welcome. It's the same with Texas Southern University. When we produce a video, we wanted to be able to send a message to Hispanic students and other minority students and white students that Texas Southern is a place for you as well, even though we're labeled as a historically black college. When we had the opportunity to start talking to the Greater Houston Partnership and the people who run Shell Oil and all the other oil companies down there, we wanted to make sure that we started to make a statement that we are relevant and we count. So one of the ways I decided to do that was to make sure our parade, for example, and you would think this is a small thing, but it's turned into probably a huge deal, but I wanted to have the parade downtown because when we have a new stadium, we have a state-of-the-art football stadium, and we're only less than 10 miles from the stadium. We should have a parade that goes downtown and says, we are TSU. We should remind everyone that TSU is in this community, and we've been a major player in this community since Barbara Jordan and Mickey Leland, and you could name all the other graduates all the way up to Michael Strahan. So going downtown with the parade is to say we're here. And as a result of that, I've gotten the attention of some folks that resulted in the Houston Endowment giving us $1.8 million for the University Academic Village effort that takes 400 freshmen and gives them extra support. The Houston Livestock and Rodeo gave us $100,000 for scholarships. We will give every student who has 90 credit hours already additional resources so they can finish their education, because the number one problem in terms of students not finishing their education at TSU is finances. So I explained to the students that you have to stop having parades that are just around the CUNY homes, just around the projects over here. That isolates the university and says we're not part of this city. We have to have parades that say we are part of this city. And in the same vein, I told the students that that's what we're doing, and we're trying to get the attention of the business community down here to get scholarships for them. Let me take this opportunity also to talk about the famous Ocean of Soul marching band here at Texas Southern. At least 2 students on the Take Back TSU were on that committee, and they were asking questions like, why is the band so small? And why don't we have more scholarships? And I had to remind them that we had about 3 or 4 years ago, we had a hazing incident, and that caused us to start paying attention to the young people who are over in the Ocean of Soul. So the band shrunk because we had to deal with students who were violating the rules and regulations in terms of hazing. And you all remember, Florida A&M is still trying to recover from the death of one of its students as a result of the band hazing. So But we've built the band back. The administration has agreed with Dr. Lee that we ought to have 250 members in the band. And we don't have 250 members in the band. And one of the students asked, well, why is that the case? So I talked to Ben Butler, who was a former band director. Everybody loves Ben Butler. He said, you know, he has talked to Dr. Lee about this too, and that is there are less people who are in these high schools who are band majors or music majors. And when you have less students in these traditional black high schools, which is where we used to get all of our band students from, more people are jumping on those students earlier and offering them scholarships. And TSU, we have offered those scholarships late rather than early in the game. So Dr. Butler and I talked about it, and we talked to Dr. Lee, and the solution is we got to get out there and recruit kids earlier and offer them scholarships. It's not that we don't have scholarship money. We're spending over $300,000 plus for band scholarships, and so it's not the issue of do we have the resources. The issue is our timing, and we need to get out there and get the students get scholarships in their hand before University of Pine Bluff, Arkansas, or Jackson State, or one of the other schools in the SWAC comes and offers them a $2,200 scholarship. When we get there 2 days later, they say, sorry, we already accepted the scholarship. So I think the students understood that. They also understand, and I really support the band. I always have supported the band. When you see the new uniforms and you see new equipment, we put that into place in 2010. So we think we're going to be back on track with the Ocean of Soul, and we're not missing any beat with respect to supporting the Ocean of Soul. In terms of public safety, you know, I think that students need to understand, and we talked about this, is that, you know, we don't mind having a lot of public events on campus for our students, but you have to be wary of when you say public, because there are people who come from off this campus, and they come on our campus and they'll do something that will make a campus look really bad. For example, we had a student who was shot the first week of class, and the student who was shot was not even a TSU student, but he lost his life. Back 6 or 7 years ago, we did lose another student, Joshua McMackle, just because students are getting together. And so I had to remind them we also had a shooting where 5 people were injured in an education rally, some kind of election rally that was going on. So they have to understand that the university has to make sure that this is a safe environment for all our students. There's just no excuse for if there's a broken window or some item that needs to be repaired, the university has the resources to do it. And then people put this system together called, I guess it's a reporting system. And so somebody turns in a report and somebody else is supposed to fix it. Well, I'm going to work with the students and make sure it's done quicker, because students have reported that we have plumbing problems or air conditioning problems, and the people who were, the adults who were supposed to be responsible for these problems say, well, I put in the work order. Well, that's not good enough anymore. So one thing I've learned from this experience with the student group is I'm not going to rely so much on people telling me they're supposed to be doing their job. We're going to make sure they do their job, and simply turning in a work order and not making sure that that's completed within a reasonable time is not acceptable. And so we'll make sure that a lot of the issues will be resolved. And it's not a question of whether or not we have the resources, it's a question of whether or not people are working in a cooperative manner who work for the university to make sure those issues are resolved. Let me say, by ending up and saying this, you know, let me thank the students. I thank the students for bringing this to my attention. Now, I've been working off campus, working in legislative session. I haven't been here this last session. I've been in Austin trying to get resources, meeting with legislators. It takes a lot of time. When I'm not in Austin, we went on a presidential bus tour. I went to 30 schools, and if you talk about 30 schools, that's a lot of work. I did both of those during the same time we were having a session. And that took me away from the campus. I'm not going to do that this year. I'm going to spend more time on campus. I'm going to walk the campus with students, and we will make sure when the students tell me they have a problem somewhere to be fixed, I'm going to make sure it gets fixed. And so let me say to Take Back TSU students, we can make lemonade out of lemons. Thanks for bringing this to my attention. And people who know me around this country know that if I see a problem, I try to fix it. And I think we can fix all these problems at TSU. And I hope to see you maybe in another month or so, and we can talk about some other issues. But again, thanks to the students, thanks to our customers, and just look at Texas Southern as being an institution that will continue to improve. We have a new $60 million library that I'm going to be working on this next 6 months. We're going to finish the dormitory. And so all in all, with our new science buildings online, the grounds look great. We have better students now than we ever had before the high school graduation. The 6-year graduation rate has improved as well at TSU. So all the things we put into place over the last 8 years are starting to come to fruition, but we will not forget who our customers are.
And that was President John Rudley giving us his first presidential address. And as we go out through the semester, look to hear from him again as he wants to better build the communication from him to students, as he wants to build a better relationship between the administration of TSU and also the student body of TSU. And thank you, TSU, we love you.